All right, in this video, we're going to go over our next assignment. So let's go to that assignment. We are currently on assignment 7, character arrays and strings. So it says here video coming soon. That's because I am about to go over the assignment. So let's download the assignment instructions, the sample output file, and the template code, and we will start talking now about assignment 7. All right, so assignment 7 is on arrays and character arrays and strings. The big point of this assignment is that we want to not just do uh, string class. We want to understand some things about character arrays. So we are going to use a some string member functions and stuff like that, but we're also going to use some character array stuff as well. So let's get started and talk about it. I think a really good way to understand what you're going to be doing first would be to take a look at the sample output. So I have here the sample output. So let's zoom into the sample output and let's take a look at it. All right, so I'm zooming in a little more. All right, so we're going to first have the user enter their first name, and then you're going to get their first name. They can enter it it doesn't matter if it's all capital or uppercase, lowercase. I'm just, usually that's the way people enter it, with the first letter capitalized. Then you're going to keep the original name. You're going to make a reversed version of the name. Now I'm going to show you how to do it using a function from a reverse function. You can use begin and end functions from the string class, and you can use a reverse function. But if you want to practice reversing, I will show you also. I have a video on that, and I will show you where to find that if you want to practice reversing without just using the reverse function. And then we're also going to turn letter by letter into uppercase letters. So no matter what they enter it, you're going to go letter by uppercase. You're going to use this uppercase version to find the NATO phonetic version. So what does that mean? We're going to take your character array, which is an array of characters, and turn it into a string array, which is an array of strings. So you're going to have your so the alphabet, there's a word for each letter of the alphabet in the NATO phonetic version. So we're going to make sure that you use only your uppercase version, because you don't want to have to compare upper and lowercase to do it. And then you're going to this is actually going to be a string array, an array of strings. So this string is going to be at index 0, index 1, index 2, and index 3. Then we're also going to make an ASCII version. That means that each letter has a numerical value associated with it. Now, the ASCII version for Tammy with uppercase T and lowercase AMI is not going to have the same numerical values, because an uppercase T has the same value for both, but a lowercase a has the number 90, has the value 97, and an uppercase A is 65. There's a very easy way to do this, and I will show you that as well. And then just for practice, we will sum those numbers and calculate the average. So we're just going to be First, you're going to do it with one single string, which is a first name. It doesn't have to be the first name. It can be a word. I just think it's fun to do it with a first name, but it's going to be a single word with no space. So first, you're going to get a single word with no space. That word can be a string. It doesn't have to be a character array or anything. You just get this string with no space. You keep the original version. You make a reversed version. You make an uppercase version. You make an integer array that has a integer value for each letter of your original version. You make an integer array that has an integer value for each letter of your uppercase version. And you make a string array for the NATO phonetic version. And then we're going to do those same things. So you're going to have functions, right? You're going to have a function that's going to do this and a function that's going to do this. So we're going to keep using functions over and over, a function to reverse it, a function to make it capital. So the only difference is you're going to do it first with a single word with no space, and then you're going to do it with a phrase that has space. It can be a title or a phrase. I chose to do Pride and Prejudice. So you're going to do the same thing, have the original version, make a reverse version, make an all capital version. What I chose to do is, so what I chose to do with my string array for the NATO phonetic version, I chose to do all letters of the alphabet. So if the user were to enter something that does not, that is a not a letter of the alphabet, you're just going to put a space. So I had if it's a P, you do Papa. If it's an R, you do Romeo. Obviously, I went alphabetical because it's easier. And then if it's anything, so I used if else. So any else, anything, if it's a space or any kind of character that is not like if someone enters a string, they can enter ampersands or hashtags or percent signs or anything like that as part of their string, but it's not going to be in this alphabet. So I have just a last else that if it's a space or anything else, it'll just have a white space. And then I make the ASCII version of my original, the ASCII version of my uppercase, and we're going to do this in a loop. So we're not going to redo the name because enter the first name, we're going to assume it's the same user, but we are going to put the phrase into a loop. So we're going to allow the user to enter another phrase if they want. So we say, would you like to enter another phrase? So I start it out, I get the name and do everything with the name. Then I had a do while loop, I believe. So I get a phrase, do everything with the phrase, and then say, would you like to enter another phrase? Yes or no. If the user enters Y, then I will get another phrase. Do the same thing with that phrase. And then would you like to enter another phrase? And the user enters no. So then that will end the program. I have another sample output here. Did I download both sample outputs? Yes. So I do have another sample output here. That's not what I needed. Huh. So this was the one we already looked at. Oh, I didn't put another sample output. Okay, so maybe on the assignment I put another sample. I did. I have another sample output. So you can just take a look at these sample outputs. It should help you to understand what is expected in this assignment. Again, this is just a different user, so we keep the same name here. And then she entered SpongeBob SquarePants, so we did that. Would you like to enter another phrase? And she entered Happy 4th of July. Again, if you want to do anything with the exclamation points and all of that, phrases and strings can include them, but they're not going to be in this alpha phonetic alphabet. All right, so let's now take a look at the instructions. All right. So you're going to have these strings. You're going to have you're going to declare it to be a string. So when you get the string, they're going to be different sizes all the time. So that it's going to be a different size string, like the name will be a different size. So you're going to create a dynamic string that's going to be the same size, but it's going to be a string array. So it's going to be the same size as your character array, but it's going to be an array of strings. And you're going to also create a dynamic integer array that's also going to match the size. So you get your first name, your reverse name is going to be the same size, your uppercase first name, your phrase, your reversed phrase, and your uppercase phrase, but you're going to use functions for this, so you can just pass them as strings. And then you're going to make a dynamic array for your string array and a dynamic array for your integer array. So you have, so you can practice that. All right, so you want to practice arrays, character arrays, and strings. We're going to have to search through an array, add up all the numbers in an array, calculate the average, match things in the array to do the phonetic, the NATO alphabet. And so this is just information about what you're going to be doing, which we just went over when we looked at the sample output. So this is just a written up version of what you're going to be doing. There's a couple of things that are important here that I want to make sure you understand. Now, if you want to try to do reverse, I will show you here. If you go to the modules, and I recommend, I mean, this is a class and you certainly can get help if you want to practice reversing. There is a video right here. This video right here, character arrays. It shows you how to reverse an array. So how to reverse, how it shows you two ways to reverse an array, and I'll put some notes here when this is over to remind you, and I will put the slides up for this as well. I'll put it with the assignment I wanted to explain first. So if you want to try to reverse, you can either well, you're going to want to make a copy. You can either copy it and then reverse that copy, or you can make a reversed copy by copying over the letters backwards. But if you want to, you can just use the library, which is available to you. You just include algorithm, and you can use the reverse function that's in that library. So if you include algorithm, of course, we will be including IOStream and string and CC type to change from to uppercase letters. But if you want to do the reverse function, it's very easy to do. Your string has two functions. It has a begin and it has an end. So you can just call the reverse function and pass it word.begin and word.end, and it will create a reversed version of the word for you. So either way, if you want to do it that way, the only thing is that this function right here is going to reverse this word. So if you take a look at the sample output, we want to maintain the integrity of our original word. So you don't want to reverse your original word. You want to make a copy of it before you reverse it. Another thing you want to do is before you get a phrase from the user, because white space tends to not, it does not work with cin directly. If you're trying to read in phrases and that have white space in them, it's not going to work properly with cin. So you want to use this getLine function. And before you use the getLine function call, you want to you can Google, there's different ways to handle it. This is the most straightforward way to handle it, and it worked on my program. So this is the way that I handled it. I declare my phrase. Then I just put cin ignore. So this is going to ignore any enters that were earlier, because when you have a string and you're reading in, it might try to read in earlier enters. It just clears out the buffer so that when you get your phrase with getLine, you are getting everything up until the user enters enter. So it is up to the user to properly enter the phrase with the white spaces and then hit enter at the end. So these are just things to consider. You can assume that anyone who's testing your code is going to enter it the right way. All right, so that's what you're going to be doing for this assignment. You're going to be breaking up your assignment into functions. So let's talk about these functions now. The first function, so we're going to we want to maintain the integrity of our word, so we don't want to change it. We want to make a reversed version of it. So you're going to pass a constant string to this function. This function will reverse it. Like I said before, you can just use this very straightforward reverse function, or you can use you can try to reverse it by going through and looping, and I will give you that information on I will put that presentation up for you if you want to give that a try. But it's not required for this assignment, and it's not going to be extra points, and it's not going to be extra credit. It's just um, a lot of you came from Python and like to do things in one statement, but it really you can reverse it with one loop as well. It's not that much work, and it really helps you to understand more about arrays. So the reverse it function is going to take in this word, and it's going to, of course, have to make a copy of it, and then it's going to return the copy. You're also going to pass a word here, your same original word, and it's going to turn it all uppercase. Now, when it turns it all uppercase, you're going to loop character by character using the toUpper function from the library CCtype, and it will return the string that is all uppercase. So these functions will also be used not just for your single word. You can also use these two functions for your phrases. So you can reuse these functions, or you use these functions for your name, and then you reuse these functions for your phrases. Then we're going to do our string array function. So our string array function is not going to return anything. It's going to take a pointer to a string. In other words, you're going to create a dynamic array of strings. So you're going to pass that, and you're going to pass the word here because you need to know what the words are. Then we're going to uh, use a loop in here to create our and I'm going to do another video in which I'm going to draw this out for you so you'll have a better understanding. But this is just overview. So this string array function is going to call the make NATO function. So it's going to match with each letter. It's going to match the word. So you're gonna need to have it's gonna have to go through and find which string matches. You're gonna have to have the library of the words that match for each letter, which I provided for you right here. So this is the library that it matches. So you're going to have to say if the letter is an A, then the word is alpha. If the letter is a B, then the word is bravo. I used if else to do mine. So I said if it's alpha, if the letter is A, assign it to alpha. Else if it's B, assign bravo. Else if it's C, assign Charlie. So then I could do a last else here that said else, anything that's not a letter or a white space or a symbol is just going to be assigned a white space, a string white space, because it is an array of strings. So I will be again making another video where I draw pictures of this for you to have a better understanding. All right, so you're going to use this string array function. It will call the make NATO function. That's going to that's going to fill that string array. And then you will call the print string array function. All this function does is print strings from the array in a column. It's much easier to read the output when you print the words in a column. And then you have another one that's very similar. So this is very similar. Instead of making an array of strings, you're going to make an array of integers. So you're going to pass a pointer to an integer so you can make a dynamic array of integers. And then you're going to have two different functions here. One where you're going to print an array of integers onto the screen in a row separated by spaces. Take a look at the sample output. And then you have another function that's going to calculate the average. So this is an overview video. And in the next video, I will be drawing pictures to explain the concept of what we're going to be doing. It's just some rules. Be sure that you comment your code. Be sure that you put function prototypes above main and your definitions below main. I have provided you with function prototypes with comments, so there's no reason that your function prototypes and definitions should not have comments. You should also add comments throughout the code, making it easier to read. Use descriptive variable names. Your source code is last name A7. Be sure you have a header comment on the top of your code before you be sure you test your code before you submit it. And of course, it's due at 11:59 p.m. with a grace period until 8 a.m. the following day. This is individual work. You should not be working. Of course, you can discuss things with your other students, but you should never share code. You should be working on this yourself. We have 2 TAs in this class that you can certainly reach out and get help from the TAs. The use of AI to assist with this assignment is prohibited. You're not learning how to code if you have Chat GPT write your code for you. This is a coding class, so um, you need to practice, struggle through it, work through things, get the right help you need from our TAs or from me. If you need help, just be sure to attach a current version of your code and try to ask specific questions. The best thing you can do is work on one thing at a time. Don't start uh, trying to code everything at once. Begin just by getting a name and try and doing the reverse function, and then do the make upper function. So do one thing at a time, test and make sure that it works before moving on to the next thing. Trying to put all the code together at one time is very challenging.